The SEC has voted. Oklahoma and Texas are in. It was a unanimous vote of yes. That's right. They will join the conference. Now, the plan is, or at least today, officially, they will join effective July 1st, 2025, and begin play in the 25-26 academic season. But that is not set in stone. You have to believe Oklahoma and Texas want to get there earlier. The Big 12 now becomes a disgruntled ex who has been broken up with, and I don't know what and how they will impact this new union between OU and Texas and the SEC. But you know who does? That guy, Dennis Dodd. Here he is. Let's get what's what. Translate for me, you guys are in, but we're not going to get together until July 1st, 2025.
Yeah, you put it great, EK. This is a protracted, ugly divorce that is just starting. Talking to sources around the Big 12, they are willing to burn down the house legally to make this as hard as possible for Texas and Oklahoma to get to the SEC. I think they will get to the SEC, and I think they'll get there before the end of the contract in 2025. But the Big 12 is going to use all available resources. There's a clause in the contract, the bylaws, a 99-year-old bylaw, by the way, that was signed in 2012 by Texas and Oklahoma that says if there's one member left of the Big 12 conference, they retain the right to sue all entities involved with breaking up the conference, whether that's the American, the SEC, Texas, Oklahoma, whoever. So this is going to be two very smart legal teams, two very accomplished legal teams. This is going to play out publicly, and a lot of money is going to be exchanged. Texas and Oklahoma probably won't want to pay the $80 million each. It will take to leave the league before the term of the contract. So does ESPN speculatively. Do they take the money they saved from not having to pay for the Longhorn Network and the back end of that 20-year deal? Do they just finance the buyout? And it's as simple as that. I don't know. But it's going to get ugly. After talking to people around the Big 12, this is not going to be an easy thing.
All right, 80 million sounds like a lot, right? But it's not when it's, a relative figure. 80 million now becomes 2 years of Russell Westbrook or Chris Paul salary. I mean, we're not talking about huge money. We're talking about entire schools and SEC and billion-dollar TV rights and all that stuff. At the end of the day, why aren't they just going to say, here's your 80 million, goodbye?
Yeah, I talked to one prominent AD who's very familiar with television dealings, and he said it could be done this way. ESPN wants Texas and Oklahoma in its inventory as soon as possible. So how did they get there? They help finance this deal, if indeed it happens. Let's say it happens. They get the money back in 2 years based on what Texas and Oklahoma bring to subscription fees, advertisers, ESPN Plus streaming rates that can go up. They'll make it back soon enough. So it might be a good investment just for ESPN to get involved. In fact, they don't even have to tell anybody they're involved. The money, we don't know where the money could come from. If Texas is willing to walk away from $150 million left on the Longhorn Network, I don't know how $80 million, how much that means to them.
All right.
But as I said, the Big 12 is going to fight it.
All right, so what's the best case? You mentioned the Big 12, but what's the best case for the Big 12 conference? They get two $80 million checks and they lose their two most prominent members? Is there a best case scenario better than that?
Well, the best case scenario for the Big 12 conference is to survive and be the Big 12 conference. As of right now, you saw the story yesterday where they're accusing ESPN of orchestrating a play by the American Athletic Conference to take all of their members into a giant mega conference. What I don't know, and no one seems to know but right now, is who has the leverage between the Big 12 and the Athletic. Is it the Big 12 with that number that they can pay their members $37 million in the last 4 or 5 years of the contract? Or is it the American that has stability? Right now, those conferences are worth about the same thing, about $9 million per team. But the Big 12 has the contract with ESPN to pay it for the term of the contract. Now, Bob Bowlesby may have burned a rights partner yesterday when he called out ESPN. So that would be my first question from the American teams that want to be into the Big 12. Where are you going to be in 5 years? The Big 12 can't say that with any certainty right now.
Okay. Ultimately, if you had a little crystal ball right in front of you on that, and I said, You might change your mind in 5 minutes with new information, but right now, what do you think is the most likely way that this plays out in terms of Oklahoma and Texas, who in this breaking news have been unanimously approved by the SEC? How quickly are they in the SEC? Are they in the SEC a year from today?
If I had to guess, I'd say 23. I think they can work this thing out in some sort of settlement. Eventually, there's going to be a settlement. Even in ugly divorces, there's a settlement. You know, somebody may get the house, somebody may get the car, but that's called a settlement. And that's what's going to happen here. I think 2022, maybe too quickly, the way the heads are going right now. There's a lot of rancor going around. And think about that, EK, in the 2022 season. So think of everything that's going to be thrown from the stands, not physically thrown, but insults on courts, on fields. There was a really, really ugly incident in 2011 when Nebraska in its walk year from the Big 12 played at Texas A&M, and it got really ugly with then coach Bo Pelini at Nebraska. So the same thing could happen here wherever Texas and Oklahoma travel. So I would say the sooner the better for all parties concerned. I would say right now, again, 5 minutes could change. 2023, they start playing in the SEC.
I will always defer to you. But if I had to wager William Hill style, I'll take the under. I think it's going to be this year and done because of exactly what you said. This is going to be the limbo, it's almost too dicey and dangerous, and they're going to find a way to get everybody back where they're ultimately going to be. But we know Oklahoma and Texas almost with certainty they're going to be in the SEC sooner rather than later. Excellent job, Dennis Dodd.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.